A very special good morning to you and welcome once again to Untangle on the Bridge 99 FM. Wagwan, yes or no? Oh, okay, good. Okay, good. Yes, thank you very much, Richie. Have yourself a wonderful day, Richie B. Have yourself a wonderful day, up and go team. And of course, the listeners are main priority. Want to say a very special morning to our listeners and a special morning also to the Untangled team. So we are now ready to talk to mother-daughter operators of the Taino Heritage Camp right here in Jamaica. I am definitely going to be having issues pronouncing your name, but I'm sure you will both be patient with me. So we want to say welcome to Untengle, Behike Florence and Jenna Gregory Archer. So welcome to Untangle. We're on there. All right. So you are mother.
I am Behike Florence.
Behike,
and
right?
Cacike and Cacike Ilewae.
Okay, that's your daughter.
That's my daughter.
Where is she?
She's here, coming up.
Okay, coming up. There you are. Okay.
Yeah.
Greetings, both of you.
So the Taino greeting for greetings is Mabrika.
Right. Okay.
So can I have you say Mabrika for me?
Say that again.
Mabrika.
Mama Brika.
Mabrika.
Not Mama, you know.
Mabrika. Mabrika.
Look here there. You're going to have to be very gentleman with me through these things. But but say so. Behike, right? You're Behike, right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're Behike, right, Mama?
Okay. Yes, I'm Behike, yes.
I see you and your husband all the time.
Really? Where
All
you
the time. In and around the same area with the village there.
Always.
Yes. Right. So that's why I said I know you. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about Tainos. Give us a little bit of history of the Tainos in Jamaica.
Right.
It's you start with the hardest question. And
Sorry about
I like
that.
it. No, it's fine. So because our culture of Taino and Arawak is decimated, it's not difficult. It's up for dispute and argument where the timeline starts, where the Tainos came from, whether they were a mix of
African
and Taino, or whether they came all the way from China in BC times.
Yeah.
So it's quite complex, but we like to simplify everything at the school that we have up at Koke Ukeyeke.
Mm-hmm.
So the history and the timeline for the Tainos in Jamaica is said to have started around 800 AD.
Okay.
And that is when the Tainos came to form villages and discovered the space and started to form villages and farms and hierarchy systems and government from the Jamaican space. But they were all over the Caribbean from before that as well.
Okay, history recalls. I'm not quite sure if this is in sync with what you know or what you have been taught, but we have been taught that the Tainos and the Africans met up in the hills and created what we now know as maroons.
Right. I love that. I love that you said that, Sister Ali, because for when we were first researching that was a dispute. Mm-hmm. But now, with technology, we have actually unearthed all of this information. So it's not necessarily what a lot of people, when we do our questionnaires, a lot of people say that they didn't know about the Tainos, they know about the Arawaks. Mm-hmm. And then that's what was taught in school. Mm-hmm. But with the unearthing of our true modern technology, we can get our true history. And there is our true history. as you just said.
Okay,
They were.
wonderful. Okay, so we can agree on that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, fine. So a lot of people may think that both the Arawaks and the Tainos are no longer in existence here in Jamaica. But you both are disproving that with the Taino Heritage Camp. Tell us where we can find Tainos here in Jamaica. Some spots where we can find them.
You can find them right here
right
on this
here.
screen.
I tell you something.
Go ahead.
I just yesterday, and it's like the ancestors send it to me, got by the results of my DNA testing.
Yes.
And the wonderful thing about that is that they prove endemically that my ancestors were of
Taino and
African.
You see that? You see that? So let me.
I'm telling you,
100% no European.
No European.
Just pure 100, and it's very rare, you know. The mix of 100 of African and Taino only is very, very rare to see.
But
ancestors send that to.
But it proves, my sister Behike, that there is such a thing as a mix of Tainos and Africans.
100%.
Absolutely.
And the DNA prove it. And I was smiling all the way.
I can imagine.
All the way.
But let me ask you this though: when you come to taking the DNA test, does it specify Taino?
No, it specifies
indigenous Caribbean or indigenous American, depending on the DNA test that you do.
Well, yes, we know that the indigenous were Tainos, so it says indigenous Americans, which as you read in your book, that the Tainos settlers that settled here, you know, hundreds of years ago, were from that area.
Right. Okay, you said you were delighted when you found that out. But let me ask you this. Have you always been told that there is Taino blood in you why you were so delighted? And if you were, from who did you get this information?
Right, from my grandmother.
Okay.
So my grandmother was very, well, we used to ask why her hair was kind of like, you know, not very afro.
Right.
And what they would say is that she come from the people them long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Never that it was Taino.
Indian,
Indian, yes.
Mm-hmm.
From the people, Indian people.
Right.
So
she looked that way.
Yeah.
But not necessarily, because sometimes some people saying that you look like you're Indian and you know how no Indian in you, you know.
Thank you.
And the funny thing is as well, if you look on the timeline, you can say whether it could be Indian or there's some confusion there. Mm-hmm. Because with Behike, Florence, her grandmother was born before the indentured Indians came to Jamaica. So it wasn't, the timeline never link up.
Right.
So there was always, like, once we started to look at the genealogy and the timelines, there was a strong possibility that it was Taino.
Okay.
And then when we did the DNA test, that was a confirmation that it was
Okay,
Taino.
We're going to go back to the question as to where we can find the Tainos. But what I find to be very interesting is it may not be so anymore. But I remember growing up as a child, someone would say to you, you look like a maroon. And that look of looking like a maroon was actually African features with very soft hair.
That was a maroon, what they said? That was how they described the maroons?
Originally, or before, when I was growing up. It doesn't, there's no particular look now. We just look like, you know, Jamaicans. But when I was growing up as a child and you were told that you look like a maroon, that was the look that they said was maroon. African features with very soft hair.
Right. So it actually makes sense. The mixture between the African and the Taino would have more than likely produced somebody who was quite dark skinned with soft hair.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at DNA, only 5% of your DNA is actually dictates your look.
Yes.
So sometimes it gets quite hidden.
Yes.
But in that,
yes.
what you also have to consider is that the inflow of Africans to Jamaica was incredibly high because it was invested in for over 100, 200 years, bringing over Africans on a constant basis. So more than likely, your mixture of that Taino and African would have been a higher percentage of Africans.
Right.
Taino.
Right.
So you're going to have less of the features of the Taino.
That's right.
And more of the features of the African, hence the very dark skin, because your skin kind of really dictates the percentages, like the color of your skin. And
right.
Probably around my skin color, and then
darker.
And darker,
right?
And then the Africans would have kind of like as you mix more with the Africans.
That's right. Okay, so let's talk about where in Jamaica can we actually find pockets of Tainos.
The Taino Park are you can
find Tainos all over the island.
Cacike say you're not great. When you're looking for a pure-blooded Taino,
you're not going to find. You're not going to find that.
You're not going to find a pure-blooded
African pure-blooded nation, really, in Jamaica.
True.
Not in modern times. I don't think you could go to England and find a pure-blooded English person either.
I agree with that, but and I agree with that 100%. But where did they originate from?
The
then?
Island.
Where?
But across the island, because people move so much, you know.
Yes.
So we have our maroon camps, and it used to be concentrated in the hills before people started moving, and then people started moving to Kingston and Mobay and Ocho. So they're all over the island. And one of the fantastic ways, like Behike said, to find out and confirm whether you have Taino is by doing a DNA test. But there are also the stories that are passed down.
Yes.
You have many stories that are passed down, just like Behike's story, where she was told that her grandmother came from the people that lived here a long time ago, and that they were Indians. Some people have songs that are passed down, like the Garabali song, which was we used to sing in ring ding. Everybody used to sing it in ring ding. No, did it Garabali take him, put him down the alley.
You know that, man?
No, sir.
River to the bank, Garabali.
Oh yes. Of course I do. Right, yes.
And don't forget what Kohoba is.
What?
The Kohoba is the ceremony that we do when we connect with the ancestors.
Okay.
So it's the Kohoba ceremony.
Okay.
And so when somebody refers to Kohoba, it's the ceremony of coming together of people.
Okay.
And there's a game that comes alongside the song as well. And when you look at the board, it has the 4 directions of it, and the 4 directions was very symbolic in Taino spirituality of the north, south, east, west. And the board is actually made up of that diagram. And
river are very important.
Rivers are very important, and also the center of your village, the center of yourself, the center of the heavens was also something that was very important, and that's also represented on the board. And we did a lot of research with genealogists from all over the Caribbean and America, and everyone came up with the conclusion that it would have been passed down and mixed with African songs and drum beats and so forth in order to be able to come up with that game and that song that had been passed down.
Okay.
So there's the bami that every day people still enjoy bami, and that was the staple of our Taino ancestors. We used to eat something called cassave every day, which is made from the same cassava. The way our buildings are built and the architecture of the round buildings that we have in people's gardens, on the beaches with the high-pitched roof, the town centers, like if you go to Lucy or Oracabessa or wherever, you have these round buildings with the high-pitched roof, and that's the community center.
Right.
And that's how our bohíos were built. You know?
Okay, all right.
Circular with a high-pitched roof.
Let's talk about the heritage camp. Where is it, and how can we actually find it?
Right. The heritage camp is in a town called Oracabessa, the parish of Oracabessa, parish of St.Mary. Okay? and it's in a place called Jack's River. So Jack's River, Oracabessa. Oracabessa was historically was I don't know if you know of the Golden Eye.
The Golden Eye?
The hotel, Golden Eye.
Yes, yes.
No.
That okay, well.
But I know exactly where Oracabessa is. I know exactly where Jack's River is. It's round by that circle, by that roundabout, right?
Right.
Yes, the roundabout, and then you come up to Jack's River.
Right.
Well, you go up, and it's a lovely place. It's a learning center, and it's an interactive center. And I would, basically, we talk about interactivity. You can see the different games at the schools. It's not just schools. We're open to visitors that want to come along and enjoy some of the Taino activities. So like dance, music, games, competitions, and also learning and seeing some of the
way in which the Tainos used to live,
right?
The artifacts and the farming.
Right.
And so forth.
You say school. Does it mean that you can actually go there as you would go to a school, or is it just that the information is there?
So when I say school, it's because we are a learning center, but you can come. We have camps, like camps that you can come along and do workshops.
Okay.
We also have when I know I say school as well, the school field trips come along.
Okay.
So we have a lot of school trips where they actually get to interactively learn about their heritage.
Okay.
We were endorsed by the Ministry of Education.
Right.
Okay.
And,
For those listening here now, for those listening, okay, for those listening who want to visit the village, how the days you're open and the times, give us a little bit of that.
Okay. Well, due to we were like every day until when we had COVID. And COVID made a massive difference in it with us because it actually we had to close the camp for a while because of social distancing, because of the schools closing, and so we're now bringing it back up. That it's so we're doing like this, just one day, 2 days. Sorry, 1 day for schools and 1 day for
camps and workshops and family.
Right.
Okay. And you said
that we're open on Wednesdays. We're open on Wednesdays for schools.
Right.
And so anyone can contact us through all of our social media at Taino Heritage Camp. So TAINO.
Okay. I'm looking at some of your pictures. I see many different schools. So you work along with the education ministry.
Yes, man. Yes, definitely. What did you say about the education ministry?
You work along with the education ministry because I see a lot of school children there.
The Ministry of Education.
Yeah. As part of the curriculum, that is the social. So they come along and we support the curriculum.
Beautiful. All right. Yeah. My last question is this. Jenna, you are actually a Taino chief.
Wait, Ilewae, Cacike Ilewae.
Ilewae, not Jenna.
Not Jenna.
Sorry.
Oh, hold on. So who is Jenna Gregory?
Yeah.
Okay. Sis. I can call you sis. All right, sis. So you are actually a Taino chief. How many women Taino chiefs have there been before you? Because I'm sure there are not many, if at all.
Glad you asked that question.
Hmm?
Oh, me?
Yes.
We know of one.
We know of many. There are at least 4 across the Caribbean who have been written down into history. One of the major ones is Anna Kahona, who was in the Dominican Republic. So what was the way in which a woman would generally become inaugurated as chief was through trauma, and our culture is decimated, and so I was chosen to be chief of our village in Oracabessa.
Okay. You said through trauma, you're chosen through trauma? What's that?
A lot of people don't even know that the Tainos still exist in Jamaica. Their history has been traumatized.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. All right, I get that.
We are now the caregivers of the history. One of several strong spaces across the Caribbean that have been given the calling to ensure that our ancestors are represented in this modern time with the descendants, and we've taken up the work to make sure that people know that the Tainos were the original people of Jamaica.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
And still exist today.
And endemically, you might not look like how the picture show the Tainos, but obviously as generation go through, we have to remember the timeline now, and as it goes through, people change the face.
Evolve.
The face of Jamaica
We evolve.
change.
Absolutely. We evolve.
Yes. And as we come down, so it's a piece of our history. I must tell you this before we go. It's a piece of our history that is being kept from us because it gives you the sense of belonging. So when say that, right? Okay. A lot of people can use and say, we bring you here as slaves. So don't even think that you can come up and feel we still own you, right? But what they keep out of your history is that over the time that fighters have joined with the original inhabitants of Jamaica, right? And they have merged together, and they have their husband and wife or who you are partners, and have children, and we are descendants of those people. So therefore, we carry that blood through. So therefore, this country is yours. You are endemically Jamaican. We don't have to say that we go back to England or go back to Africa. I own you. We have African DNA. We have Taino DNA.
I got you.
So therefore, and that is what makes us endemically Jamaican.
Right.
Jamaican.
Well, we have run out of time. But this is a very exciting for me because I am close to that space, and I will definitely be checking out the village, the camp, the Taino Heritage Camp.
Yes,
I'm definitely going to do that.
Everybody about us so that we can get back on form and do what we're here to do.
I got you. All right. So before we go, let me see if I'm pronouncing your name properly now. Ilewae. Ilewae. Thank you very much for joining us, Ilewae and Behike. And you've really, whet our appetites for learning more about our ancestry, because it's something that I find very exciting. And like you said, Behike, you don't have to look it, but you did your DNA test and it is there in the blood.
100%.
100%. Thanks again for joining us, and I look forward to coming and visiting you, and I will certainly spread the word and tell our listeners what I saw when I went there. All right?
Thank you very much.
Most welcome. Okay, interesting. So, mother and daughter, right? That's Behike Florence and daughter Ilewae, and they have Taino descendants, and they also operate the Taino Heritage Camp in Oracabessa St.Mary. Very interesting. So I will check that out, and I will tell you, our listeners, my findings when I go there. All right, go take a break. We soon come.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Corporate. How are you, my dear?
I'm doing lovely. I'm doing great. How are you doing, Mama Kelly?
I am very well, but we need to understand the corporate thing. Why? No, child, you don't have to fast with you a little bit. If you don't fast with you, I don't hear you. Trust me.
Oh, man.
Why Mr. Corporate?
Well, that was just a name that, was given to me when the pandemic came around, and I had to hold down a show on my own, and it was business orientated. It was a positive vibe, just bringing a piece of everything to everybody who was listening.
Okay, I got you. All right, sir. So say every now and then we go drop in Mr. Corporate.
Yes, man.
You know what I mean? Yes, man. You know what I want to ask you? You know about the program Nightly Fix, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you are going to perhaps have more questions to ask than I do, but we're still going to take them on. So You start with your news.
Okay, well, on this side, it looks like we are going back to pre-pandemic life soon. Mask mandates are being lifted all across the country. In New York City here, Mayor Eric Adams announced that by March 7th, schools will remove the mandates and proof of vaccine will no longer be required for indoor dining and entertainment, with the exception of hospitals, nursing homes, shelters, and public transportation. So, it's a very good look. The cases are on the downfall, so currently, it seems as if COVID is starting to disappear as the war appears.
You know something? Because of all that is happening in the States and the fact that the COVID is the mandates are disappearing and the masks are disappearing and they're not disappearing our side. We have been asking questions, or Jamaica has been asking the questions, how come in America it seems that they're moving away from all of that, and in Jamaica we're not moving away from it. And the powers that be gave an interesting answer, and they said that we are not America. From me don't know when since.
Wow. Well, hopefully, it will trickle down and have the same effect. If it stops in certain areas, we can actually cover the whole entire world where we see the cases just, start to go away.
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest with you, although I laugh and say that, I do understand the difference. But as you said, we are hoping that very soon we can return to normal. Yes. All right, my side now, Foreign Affairs Minister Kamina Johnson Smith says flights have now been booked for the 24 Jamaican students who yesterday arrived in Poland from Ukraine. And Johnson Smith says the students will arrive from Frankfurt, Germany to Montego Bay, St. James. And in the meantime, she said efforts are underway to find alternatives for the continuation of their studies. I think that is really what those students are very know that they've gotten out of the space. I think they're very concerned about how they're going to continue their studies for real.
Yeah, the fact that this thing actually interrupts their studies and they went so far to get the education that they desire, it's a sad situation. With the 6th day of conflict taking place now in between Russia and Ukraine. We see where Ukrainian and Russian delegates, they met yesterday for about 6 hours of peace talks, which only promised more talks. They didn't actually accomplish anything. Wow. And we now know that the U.S. will not put any boots on the ground to defend Ukraine because a war with Russia is not what the United States wants right now. Instead, they continue to try to come up with creative sanctions that will affect Russia's money flow. But, going back to the students and, not just the students, but black people in general, over there in the Ukraine and the Europe right now. We see the blatant racism. I don't know if you have been seeing it, Mama Kelly, but a lot of display of racism has been taking place when it comes to people of color and dealing with it, especially being that some of our Jamaicans are there. They're stopping them from getting on trains and getting on buses to escape the war zone. And they're allowing their white counterparts to be, put on buses and trains first so they can be safe. And, they're literally kicking black people off of these. That's how come our Jamaicans and students had to probably ended up walking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this just goes to show us that racism is not a result of war. It is a daily practice, and the fact that it has time, whether it be a pandemic or war or even an apocalypse, could happen, and people still practice racism.
Yeah.
It just basically shows us that. We're not loved in many parts of the world, black people.
Wow. Something, though, Beauregard, that I've found. I know you said we're not loved in many parts of the world, and that's a reality that we see every day. But I think it is just about hatred. Because, you see, if you took away the target of the hatred, let us say the target of the hatred is black people. If you took away the target of the hatred, then we'd find something else for it,
Yes, true.
So the issue is really about people's hearts and their minds. Because if we leave and them not have nobody else to take said pan, and then one another them will take said pan,
And it's funny you should say that about people's hearts, because I was saying the same thing. Why did God make black people with such a good heart? When everybody else is treating us in the worst way, we're always the first to run to their aid. We're always the ones with the more passion and, trying to help out people. I just feel like somebody have to, take care of God's world, and God probably choose black people for that.
Morrigan, I love your positivity.
Yeah,
Howsoever, you know, good heart. Okay, that's relative, and it is relative to which part you're there. But I think we need to have more militant minds.
Yeah, true.
And the good heart thing is relative because it don't make any sense. You kick me all about and me say kick me some more because I have a good heart. That don't work.
Yeah.
I would rather to have a militant mind that either you kick me one time the base pan, what happened after that, you don't try to kick me again. But I think that what is happening is that we're not displaying the militancy that the Most High make way with. Can I make way with that too, you know?
Yes.
So
definitely.
we need to display that militancy and the good heart thing. Me not sure. Me not so sure about. Me not sure. Me not sure. Me not so sure. Me not sure. Hey.
But you know, I want to play something for you, Mama Kelly, just
Go
for
ahead.
1 minute, just to let you hear what the news has been saying over there in Europe. How they have been talking about, you know, what has been happening, and see if you could get what I got from it after it's done.
Okay.
Me, I'm sorry. It's very emotional for me because I see European people with blue eyes and blonde hair being killed, children being killed every day with Putin's missiles and his helicopters and his rockets.
And so, of course, I understand and respect.
Out in bomb shelters, but this isn't a place, with all due respect, you know, like Iraq or Afghanistan, that has seen conflict raging for decades. You know, this is a relatively civilized, relatively European, I have to choose those words carefully too, city where you wouldn't expect that. Or
now the unthinkable has happened to them. And this is not a developing third world nation. This is Europe.
Yeah, well, just to put it bluntly, these are not refugees from Syria. These are refugees from neighboring Ukraine. I mean, that, quite frankly, is part of it. These are Christians, they're white, they're very similar to many people who live.
Wow.
That is the news. That is how the news reporters have been reporting the news, saying
Oh
that
my goodness.
these are white people and they cannot understand it, and it's not in Afghanistan. So I guess if it's not white, it's not civilized.
And then to say that it's not a developing third world nation.
Exactly. So if it was in a developing third world nation, all the bombing would be okay.
But this really is underexposure to it. Them don't know for them history. Them not know for them history. With all the war will take place right around them. Them don't know about that.
Exactly.
No.
And when these things are happening to us and people like us, you know, they call it what? Liberation?
Yeah, I hear you.
But no, when Russia is doing it, when they call it white on white war, it's called
euphemisms.
Invasion
Yes.
and fancy names.
You know, oh goodness. I'm happy that you shared that though, Beauregard.
Yes.
And I'm happy that others are listening because that one missed me and I'm sure it missed quite a few other people too. But, you know, it's just how casual and how, you
Exactly.
know, they say these things as though it actually goes so. And
The fact that it wasn't an isolated incident with one reporter,
right.
but it was multiple reporters and in different languages. I only played the English versions for you. You know, there are different languages where you had the caption, you could tell what they were saying.
But you know, the fact that these are reporters is frightening because reporters usually report, you know, without any bias or for the world. But when somebody is going to say these are people with blue eyes, I mean, how dare they? These are people like us, you know, when people like them do the same thing to them one another all the while. And trust me, I am convinced that sometimes the aggression is taken out on us because we're different. But if we were to move ourselves from the situation, that same person who talking about is blue-eyed people, them doing it to, them would be doing it to them one another because them are dirty.
Right.
Yeah.
And you look at the situation in Palestine, how those people have lost their homes and their land. And no one has anything to say about it, about an invasion. It wasn't called an invasion. It was called terrorism.
Yes, yes. That is just the prejudice of the world. And you know what is sad? We grew up, especially our children now, grew up listening to this. And yes, for those who have a critical mind and for those who are critical thinkers, they will, you know, explore it and dissect it. Right. But the average youth now go to dissect it, you know. Them just go accept it as normal. And therein lies our problems. because it is now normal, it is now institutionalized, it is now something that you can say, and it's all right. Can you imagine the lady says it's not a developing third world nation? This is Europe.
They're so comfortable in saying it.
Yes!
You know, like racism just get comfortable and put up its foot.
Yeah, but you see, for those who always remind us that racism is a system, this really sends the point home even more forcefully that it is a system. So, you know, and people, you know, there are people, there are schools of thought which I agree with. I mean, black people can be prejudiced, but racism is a system.
Yes.
And that's, yes.
A system that gets no time off, no paid vacation, no sick time, no leave of absence, always working overtime, double shift, 24/7. You know?
Same way, sir. Yeah, same way, sir, Beauregard. And you know, forums like ours, we have to take out things. I'm happy you did that, because this is perhaps the only time our children are going to hear a different view of what is happening. Yes. You know, and it is so important for us to expose our children to our views and how we see things, and to let them know that all them statement, a lot of it is underexposure to, because the more exposed that you are to, you know, international affairs and different cultures, is the less likely for you to make utterances like that. Underexposed.
Yes, and most of what we experience is only from here in the United States, you know, so it's good that we have social media now that can give us these things when they try to censor it, you know, somebody capture it real quick. And, you know, put it out there. Yes.
Well said. All right, so we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we talk to the host of The Fix. We have live inside the studio. Hold on a little bit. So we're going to ask you to introduce yourselves first and foremost. So we have Ari. Yes. And we also have... Okay, hold on. But me not hear you. Hold on.
Now hear me.
Go on again.
Yeah, Naro.
Me hear you.
And in person. Yeah,
all
deep
right,
voice.
Fine.
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. So you seen them, Beauregard?
Yes, I'm seeing them.
All right. So before we even get into the details of the fix, you had a program called the Nightly Fix. So let's talk a little bit about. Let me look Pando now. Let's talk a little bit about the Nightly Fix and what kind of program was that, and how will it differ from the fix?
Well, the Nightly Fix was a radio show that we had on a previous radio station. That won't be named. It was it was every Thursday night. Yes. And it featured unfiltered conversation with mostly, you know, dancehall artists, reggae artists, you know, people involved in the entertainment industry. And yeah, it grew from there, and it evolved into something more of a daily thing. So we're in a situation where we couldn't go by Nightly Fix anymore.
Can you start work a day?
Exactly. So it kind of evolved from there into, you know, a podcast which we now do weekly, and basically a media platform that offers several different, you know, media offerings.
Okay.
People,
all right.
YouTube.
Before you know, Beauregard is going to do some questions, right?
Sure.
All right. So before Beauregard asks, let me ask you this. When you say unfiltered conversations, tell us exactly what that means, because when I mentioned today that you're going to be on the bridge and, you know, with the fix, someone asked if you are going to filter the conversations. So will the conversations be actually filtered on the bridge?
We're not sure about that. I stutter because I know say go really all that filter.
We are
but
gonna play by Broadcasting Commission rules.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ari.
Of course,
thank you.
Of course we are. But
you're not so sure about that, you know? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, Ari. I'm don't sure. You have to play by broadcast standards, Mr. Man. But
we always push it where we can, and so we can get out here. But you know, we it's something that we've done before, and it's something that we've always wanted to return to, you know, that is to be back on radio.
Right.
And we're happy to, you know, be back on radio via the bridge, 99 FM. You know, I think it's a really good fit.
Thursday nights, 9.
Yeah, 9 to 10 p.m. of course. Plus.
Right, the time 9 to 10.
Yes.
So it's only an hour.
Yes, only an hour for now.
So you must can sneak in one little unfiltered.
At least that's what I said.
I like that.
One little unfiltered.
Morgan.
Yes, Baba. Big up yourself, Naro and Ari. Bless up. I truly love the show and I respect the work that you both have been doing. You know, Naro are the mischievous one, you know. Whole heap of trouble him giving Mama Kelly.
But
I don't believe they can hear me.
No,
they cannot hear me.
You
they
hearing
cannot
me?
hear me.
No.
You're not hearing?
They need headphones.
These guys need headphones because you need to hear what Beauregard just said. Beauregard just said, make I tell you before I get. Beauregard just says, Ari, you good girl. He never says so. But more or less, that's what he mean. But Naro, no, sir. Him are the troublemaker. Basically, that's what Beauregard just said a while ago.
You're right.
I love that.
And that's not at all true. She gives her trouble when she's ready. In fact, she sets up the trouble by luring the guests into a false sense of security.
I mean, know them people there. I mean, know them kind of people there. All right, so
how did the team meet? How did you both meet each other?
Wow, Naro, Naro and I go way back because we used to go to the same prep school, Heidel, big up Heidel. And then we met up back at Gleaner when we were working at the Gleaner. And then, you know, we just stayed in touch. I was working at New Start 93 FM as a receptionist. And I'm like, you know, let's do something there. And I know he was doing communication or BCAT at UTech. And I was working at New Stock. And I'm like, yo, you know, since your degree is in that and, you know, I have a little media. I don't know what is it. No, not training. Because Gleaner trained me a little bit. But no, I love media. Let's work together and let's develop this show. And I developed the whole concept. You know, brought it to the general manager at the time. And, you know, that's how we really link up. Yeah.
Okay.
And what year was that?
2014. We actually pitched it in 2013 November, but we started in 2014 January.
I just want to make it clear when she said BCAT, it's Bachelor of Arts in Communication and Technology.
I went to UA, so I don't know. I don't know.
Be very careful here.
Yes, yeah, whatever.
So like things like that, we can get to it unfiltered.
Okay. So what's the format going to be like? Is it the same thing, more or less?
More or less. It won't be along the lines of what we currently do. Similar. It will be more similar to what we used to do when we are on the radio. You know, of course, with some new things and segments and flavors and things like that. Yeah.
Right. So the dancehall element will definitely be a part of it.
Of course.
Yes, I gather so. And to be honest with you, there's a niche for that. A wide open niche for that. You know, and I'm saying this as someone who don't go there. But no, but that's why you need to go there. Yeah. Because somebody need to go there and them need to go there on radio. And the other thing is that somebody needs to be wise enough to push it to the edge and know when to stop. Because that in itself is an art. To push it to the edge.
It's a nice dance.
It's a nice dance, but to know when to stop.
I believe we fully, over the years, you know, learn how to, you know, fully get with dancing shoes on and, you know, do that dance. And, you know, I think that we've garnered a reputation over the years to, you know, get under the artist them skin, but not so much so, but enough so that it can be entertaining for the people out there, and you know, to be a sort of buffer for the people out there, because you know, a lot of the audience, they're saying that their voices aren't being heard, or you know, they want us to ask certain things, and we ask the things that they want to be asked out there. So we definitely take that role serious out there.
Yeah.
You both have interviewed many artists over the years. How do you choose the artists that you would like to get interviews from, and is there anything that you consider off limits when interviewing certain artists?
I usually have to have a gimmick, you know.
Shut up! That's not what we do.
Let's have a gimmick, and that's how we choose them.
Let me answer seriously. Before it was we asking them, and then you know, after a while you you build up the reputation where people ask to come on. And it's just that we try now to interview a lot of young upcoming artists because we want to see the potential in them, and is always trying to get there on the ground floor. But before it's just asked like, how are you benefiting or how are you performing in the space? Is this something worthwhile? Is it something that we think that an audience would want to hear, see, and we try to promote that. The other question that you asked was what again?
Is there anything you consider off limits to certain artists?
Yeah, well, yes, of course, depending on the artist. We try as much as we are. As much as my friend here is antagonistic, we know that there's a just like a mutual respect, and we try to maintain that, and still try to be us as much as we can be, but of course there are of course a few things off limit, and maybe we'll have a conversation prior to the conversation, but if there's no conversation had prior, then we take it there.
You know what I would like to ask, when you talk, because there's a lot of controversy, there's always a lot of controversy happening in the dancehall, but even more so now. Are you guys going to be, I mean, I have to ask Naro, because one step in the studio, I have to ask you, but Ari, you play like a good cop, bad cop girl, and I realize that, but are you going to actually give your own personal opinions and not be afraid to do that?
We do that all the time. That's what our podcast is for. We opine on things, we pontificate, we do all sorts of things on the podcast, and I mean, if an artist is in front of us and we're having a conversation, we give our opinion and then we form a question from that.
When you say you give your opinion, I mean hardcore, like you mightn't say a stupidness that, but then we get the point, say you're saying them nonsense.
No, everybody have sense.
Except we sometimes.
She's trying to trap us now. It's a trap.
I think she meant they're not being truthful.
We know that thing that goes police.
Trying to trap us.
No, but it's a very unique situation because I don't know of any, platforms out there in this space that you have the personalities give their opinion on the artist and then have to turn around and sometimes interview these artists that sometimes you don't really have a favorable thing or critique to say about their works, or sometimes they might be upset with us, or might have a little bad vibe towards us because they might have heard us opine on about their music or them career moves on the podcast. So it's a very unique situation that we find ourselves in, but we've been able to handle ourselves.
Give me an example of an artist or a situation where you've made yourself very clear and given your opinion about a particular either situation or individual, and then little more now you have to call back the artist and say, boy, you're hot, could you please whatever,
Never. Nah, we're not, yeah. Wait.
I mean, if the artist wants to come back, that is up to them,
sure.
But
no, not necessarily to come back for the same reason, or come
back for an interview.
Yes, for another interview. Yeah, no. And have you found that there are, because you can't tell me say the space where uno in a dance all day, uno make feel no opinion very clear about some of them dance arts, and them cool, man. Them cool, all of them cool. When since?
Not all of them. Some of them, they're very sensitive out there, especially towards me. I call myself the chief agitator, of our business and what we do. Chief artist agitator. And we just know the game and know that some of the artists they're going to hear some of our opinion, and we try to put them out there in a respectful way, and even so some of them will still take things to heart and take things the wrong way. So we just know that's just how the thing goes sometimes. We just have to just live and move on with it.
I think Mama Kelly wants an actual example. I think the one that pops into mind is the Angel. When she made her transition onto OnlyFans, and we obviously had an opinion on that. And she did another music video, and we had an opinion on that. And then it's a case where we end up had to interview her after that, and there was a little vibe there. But I mean, it was very clear from that. But I guess it was well.
She'd say we're jealous of her because she looked better than we.
Naro mix up,
That's what she said.
Naro a proper mix up. Proper mix up.
That's
tell you.
one example.
But she might have a point. Yeah. She might have.
No, she looks
me not about you, Harry.
Elise, I said, the angel of what? She look better that way.
No.
And Elise is right.
No. Me never say we. Me never say we. No, nobody mix up Harry.
Well.
Don't mix up Harry. Me never say we. You.
Wow. You said me mix up Elise.
Beauregard, you shoot again.
Oh boy.
Tell us about some of your most memorable interviews, like some artists that you never thought that you would be interviewing, and they're there sitting in front of you on the couch, you're talking to them.
One that pops up to mind just off the bat, Sean Paul.
Bounty Killer for
Bounty
me.
Killer, of course. That yeah, we can't. Yeah, would be egregious to not say those names.
Beanie Man, Lady Saw.
Yeah.
Ninja Man.
Yeah.
God, so quite a number of them.
Who else?
Steven
McGregor.
Yeah.
I doing ya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man, it's a lot. You know, we've been blessed to people that we've come up watching, listening to, and to be able to interview them. It's quite a number of them. So thankful for all of them if them listening.
Should the Bridge 99 FM
Shaggy, sorry. Shaggy too, yeah.
Should the Bridge 99 FM put on a liar fee?
Yes.
I don't know if you heard the promo yet.
No, I don't hear it yet. What it say?
But people should be very afraid. More along the line, I know. Horror. People being scared. Cause we just know that people scared away for some reason. We're really nice people.
I'm sure you all are. But what you but you
know. You've met us. We're nice. Come on.
No.
I'm sure.
Naro and Ari, let me just say this to you. You see, not yet. Hold on. Let me just say afterwards. Let me just say this to you. You see, although I'm saying all of this, and I am not going to be the one to do a program like that, it is very necessary. Because let me tell you something. Me subscribe to the whole of the dancehall arms house, you know. Yes! Let me say subscribe. me mean for YouTube. Yes, and if one and the people them who me subscribe to, now step on it hard, you know. We find the one where really a step on it hard. And me not going to be part of it. But
I hope one of the arms house is the fix. Yes. YouTube.com/fix. Subscribe.
I love that. Yes. I hope one of the arms house will be the fix. But there's a place for it. There's a place for, and the thing about it too is that, you see, young people like yourselves, you need to represent honesty, because it only don't always have the right things to say and protocol. Only not stick to them. There's something there.
We do
sometimes. But there is a space. I'm being very frank. There's a space for people like Uno. There's a space for a Naro who just talking by. And obviously you're not thin-skinned, because you can't be thin-skinned with a program like that. So there's a space for people like Uno. Think. There's a like, for example, when Beauregard and I are talking, Beauregard would say, Sister Kelly, how you feel about so-and-so? And I always back down. Or most of the times, I back down. And Beauregard...
Why do you back down?
For various I back down for various reasons, Ari, because I don't always want to rock. There are certain things I rock the boat about, like politics and politicians. I really don't care how they feel, right? So I'll rock the boat there.
And we've rocked the boat there several times too.
Good. Wonderful. Yeah. I will rock the boat there because I have a responsibility and we're going to ask these questions. Yeah. But there are some other things that I might be just a little too timid. So
is it because that is it you want to maintain the relationship, or is it because, well, you know that you're a woman and you know you can't really be out in these streets, and I'm not
very good question. Like that, so very good question. I don't have excellent question. But there's no relationship oftentimes with whoever these people are. So I guess it would be not wanting to rock the boat if I don't have to. But don't get this twisted. If it gone to the point where I feel passionate about anything, only will hear from me.
As it should be.
And the same way we feel and the same way we operate. You know, and Nightly Fix was born out of that need that you talk about. That void. Want to fill that void in the space out there where young people like ourselves, you know, are out there, because we weren't seeing ourselves out there in the space, and we definitely wanted and identified, say we can operate and be that voice.
Absolutely.
And people that look like us.
Yeah, man. That's what I love. I really appreciate that. And although it may not sound like that I do, I really do. There is a space out there for Uno, and Uno need to represent who you are, because I am clear. It is clear to me that the way how I was raised, I'm not saying raised, I mean with morals. No, me just mean what you say, when you say. You understand me?
Yeah.
So because I can't do it, because I wasn't raised that way, bring the picnic them come, make them just start the thing them. Yes,
I feel like Mama Elise is going to give us some things to say, and then she's just going to point it that way.
Yeah. And watch out under them a little note. Watch out a note underneath. Please don't call me name.
We'll do that. It's not a problem for us.
Me calling him.
No, all right. Ari. Let me put it this way. I'm going to put a little note, send it to you, and say, don't tell Naro.
Yes.
More regard you again.
Wow. The Fix. Welcome to the bridge, man. I must say that you both have been watching you for a couple of years now, and seeing some of the interviews that you have done over the years, and I must say you have been doing a good job and continue to do the great job. And the question is, now that you're on the bridge, I know you guys have an ultimate goal in terms of where you'd like to see yourselves. Let me just ask, in about 5 years, where would you like to see yourselves in terms of journalism and what you're doing now?
Super villain, you want to tell them?
I know. Nara always laugh at me and say, when I say world domination, he's like, you're very afraid. But no.
You just sound like a super villain.
Yeah.
When you say that.
No, I want to obviously grow, to be a space and to provide. There in my mind, there's always so many other content that I want to churn out, but to in layman's term, or in short, just to be a Jamaican Oprah Winfrey. Like, I want to run a media company. I want to have shows, give other opportunity to not just, like, people think that we're just a bunch of sports or musician, but there's other people in the creative field that need to be highlighted and needed to be given an opportunity to shine and to have their outlet. And I think that's what I want to provide, and to share that space with other upcoming creatives.
I agree with you.
Nice.
I think we're too safe in the media. We're playing it safe. We were taught to play it safe.
True.
And just a question that you asked me, Ari, I am very confident that this should be a wonderful show. And may I just say, I know you're going to have a certain amount of manners to people who could be appearing, but don't be afraid to ask questions. Just fix it up nice for them age, and shoot.
Yes.
How we name the Fix, you know? That so.
Yeah, man. Lovely talking to you. Lovely meeting. Because I've never met you guys before. Lovely meeting,
Always listening to you. Yeah.
Lovely meeting,
Lovely meeting you, and even your takes on what's going on right now. Like we'd love to join them conversation.
Right.
We'll have them conversation on our podcast.
Yeah.
On a weekly basis.
We noticed the subtle racism as well, but thanks for talking about it.
No. We need to do this. We need to share energy. We just need to share energy. I will just say to you, me think when just too outrageous. And then you're not afraid for say to me, you look like too safe in your old age. I'm in a night with you. So, just...
I think that we're part of bridging that gap,
yes.
Right now. Because we're not so young no more. The bridge, see there?
Yeah, it's a bridge. That's the bridge.
We're not so young no more. I get whole couple of gray hair, sure, and all them things. So it's like, artists are appearing on the show right now that are saying, I grow up and listen to you. I'm like, wow.
Yes.
So long we've been at this thing,
yes.
we get whole. But I think that we're part of bridging the divide between generations, and I feel that's our spot right now.
Nice,
and
wonderful.
So I try to do the best we can.
Kismet that we're on the bridge.
Wonderful. Nice meeting you both.
Nice meeting you.
We're going to take a little break. And
Before you go, Mama Kelly, the time that they're on again, can they repeat that?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead. Thursday nights, 9 to 10 p.m.
So hold on a little bit now. 9 to 10?
Yes, they're
But what 9 to 10 sound like just 1 hour, no?
Right? Just 1 hour. You know, we'll talk to the executives.
Please do. Please
I'm
do.
kind of like the time too.
The 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
The one at the 1 hour?
No, I do.
I'm sure you don't. You look like you have too many questions. You just want to shoot and just go on home. And we don't let you do the Naro.
Whatever them can't catch here, them can always catch on the podcast to fix. YouTube.com/fixture. We'll plug in again.
All right, nice
Thursday
talking to you.
9 to 10.
Nice talking to you. We'll make a nice team because it's a good cop, bad cop, and we don't have to ask who's the bad cop.
Right?
Yeah, we all know it.
All right, we're going to take a break. Thanks again. All right, beautiful. So that's the fix. So, Beauregard.
It's Mama Kelly.
You ready for it?
Yes, man.
You have somebody for question. I get a real answer now. No?
Like you said, Mama Kelly, they are the perfect team.
Yes.
They do an exceptional job in their interviews, and I really and truly enjoy it. It's entertainment and it's funny, like you said, and they hold back no punches when it comes to the questions.
I was just telling Ari a while ago, Beauregard, that a lot of times, this is my opinion anyway, that a lot of times when there are people that have programs like that, sometimes it's borders on crude. However, I told them that this is an elevated form of rankness that I really no, you understand? You understand? I can deal with the elevated thing at any level, you know, even if it is being ranked. But as a scenario is very feisty. But no, Beauregard, I know more than anybody else because I'm so reserved and from that kind of old school. I know more than anybody else that we need some youngsters who push it but know when to stop.
True. They're good. They're good. And we're glad to have them here on the bridge.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. All right, Ray. You know, we haven't done this for a while. It 140. It is actually 150 now. And normally I don't get a chance to close off my program. Right. I don't get a chance to play a song at this point here now. So let me take advantage of it.
Go right ahead.
Because Thursday is another day, you know. We're going to be having a different level. We're going to chat, Beauregard. We're going to talk, and we don't know. It's going to carry us a little over the time. But we don't have a problem. The listeners certainly don't have a problem with that. No, Nikki, not over into your time. You see, Nikki, let me tell you something about Nikki. Nikki's like, go on, na mama, just do it, na mama. And I don't want Nikki to break my bad. And I don't intend to break myself bad because Nikki have this good vibes and no, me nah go broke. Me nah go broke myself bad, Nikki. Yes, Beauregard.
You know what I haven't been doing, Mama Kelly? I haven't been giving you some of the feedbacks that I've been getting from a lot of people here in New York City and the tri-state area. You know, people have just been telling me to heal you up. You know, send their love to Mama Kelly. They love the show. They love the connection. They love the chemistry with yourself and I. And, you know, there's just so much love going out to you that we're doing a very exceptional job here. And the information that we give, they truly appreciate it.
I really appreciate that. I really do. And I guess them, you know what, I was thinking about the other day, I was driving and I was thinking about it and I really had to start laughing when you're talking about the children and the water. And it's like me, I say, you know something, I am going to tell Beauregard to send this message to his missus that at some level, you broke in the picnic, them bad, me no care where you want to say. But what I love about you, that's what I love about you, you know. You are at an age where we can fast with you and it's all right. You don't have to go in there, we enjoy to see. God,
so
no.
do I.
Yeah,
so
man.
do I. So
Me love like how we want to tell you look so clean and the blue. You know, say blue is your color. Blue fit you, you know.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, like how we want to tell you. See, if me did any younger, me definitely might know me talking because you don't know the missus. But you see, at my age, Lord have mercy. At my age, we can just say, Mums, you look nice and blue, don't?